Hello and welcome to the Studio Yutani commentary track for Alien Covenant. This is part 2 of a sort of retrospective look at the Alien series in chronological order. Of course, because this is YouTube, we will not be supplying any video of the film. However, you may sync up this commentary with your own copy of the film by pressing play now. So you should be seeing the Fox logo right now. Hello, I'm Matt Giorgiosa.
I'm Justin Macy.
And today we're going to be doing the fingering on Alien Covenant. So this is a sort of controversial entry in the Alien franchise. Depending on who you speak to, it's it ruins the whole series, or it doesn't add anything to the whole series, or it expands upon the whole series. And I think we'll kind of be touching on all the things that people like or don't like about this film as we go along.
Like the opening titles, doing the classic Alien style. Just a moment.
Yeah. So this opening shot that we got coming up here is supposed to kind of be a homage to Blade Runner, kind of the opening shot of that movie. Just a second here, and the eye here.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure what point this opening scene was actually written. It probably came pretty late in the process because it wasn't in the original Paradise script. But I quite like it. It's very staccato, very subtle. But the original opening had basically opened with David killing Shaw and bombing the engineers, and really established that this was David's movie and David was the villain. And this, I feel, kind of establishes that in a less overt way, and I kind of appreciate that a lot more.
So I agree. I believe I like the way this area starts out David's character in this movie, because he's probably the most compelling character of the movie, and he starts out just as a blank slate.
Yeah, it really is David's movie, and that's kind of one of the things we talked about in the Prometheus commentary, is that really they moved the series away from Dr. Shaw and started focusing more on this character. And I think in a film like Prometheus, where it got a mixed positive response, but everybody universally agreed Michael Fassbender's character was the best, maybe it's not so much of a surprise they decided to kind of course correct and make it his story more so than Shaw's story. I do think it's interesting that he's the kind of secret protagonist of Prometheus and the actual protagonist of this story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the protagonist and the antagonist.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So of course he's playing Entry of the Gods into Valhalla, one of many short little moments that they throw in to kind of establish the grand finale, and David's character as a whole, where he's thinking, this kind of godlike mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to discuss the relationship between David and the Michelangelo's David, as well as the music by Wagner, possibly reflecting an idea of sort of an superiority, related to Wagner's use in Nazi Germany, and the veneration of ancient Rome.
Oh yeah, no. I think that's all part of it. It's I think there's no question David's superiority complex, and that he wants to exterminate humanity and supplant them with a perfect organism. So it's. The Nazi allegories are definitely in there. I don't know if I don't remember if Guy Pearce was credited for this, but obviously this was an attempt to kind of make up for the less than stellar makeup job in Prometheus, and say, you see, yeah, we just wanted to cast the younger version of him in this movie, and it's, damage has already been done, but yeah. So I like this moment here. Guy Pearce is, basically unable to answer David's question about, why should I serve you if I'm superior? And, he responds by saying, pour me the tea. And again, it's just a really subtle, hint at where David's character is at. And of course, the fact that he actually does pour him the tea shows, that he's very diplomatic, which is scary.
Here's those that big title scene.
Yeah,
talked about.
Yeah, I do think Ridley Scott missed an opportunity here to follow tradition and call this movie Prometheus's. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why I'm not working in the movies. That's not true. I do work in movies, just not at Ridley Scott level. So this is the Covenant.
I like how it opened up on just a mess of metal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's interesting because at one point this movie was called Paradise, and then at some point somebody said you have to make it an alien movie, so Ridley said, how about Alien Paradise Lost? And that was crap. So they said, how about Alien Covenant? Okay, sure, whatever.
He had his movie made.
Yeah. So we get introduced to Michael Fassbender's other character here, Walter. This is a fascinating dichotomy, between these two characters that we see unfold in the film. I like this visual here of the of the solar panels. It's
that pure geometric thing about them. They lose meaning and they.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scientific rationale, obviously, behind it, but, then it kind of blends into the artistry a little bit. That's something I really appreciate about these movies. I like it when they actually include, real-world science, and then it just kind of helps ground the universe a little bit more. So we're getting introduced to Catherine Waterston's character here, and then here's the real star of the movie here, James Franco. It's a real shame. Well, it's too bad that these characters don't really truly get an introduction in the film. As we're going to see in a couple minutes here, they sort of just get thrown right into the thick of action, and it's not we don't see who they are before they're thrown into peril, and that's kind of a writing blunder. You kind of need to see, even if it's just a minute or whatever, we need to see who they are. Maybe we can see a dream in their flashbacks or something.
I kind of like how it focuses specifically on Walter, kind of puts him as the hero of the movie.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, but I do think it's, I do think we do miss something here. Now, apparently, this whole thing here with the neutrino burst is just complete bullshit. Like, this is a scientist said that's just not what a neutrino burst is, and that's not how it works. It's like a shock wave from a star exploding. It's like, it doesn't happen like this.
Yeah, a lot of space shock waves.
Do shock waves even happen in space? It's a vacuum. But things are going awry, as you see, and now we're getting some of that stellar character introduction we were just talking about here. She throws up. We know she's got a bloody nose. We know he's telling her they need to get up. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way the movie just bursts into action. You know, you get that, you get a couple very quiet scenes, and then all of a sudden it's...
Sure, and I mean the movie does establish that David is really truly the star here, but I do wish we got something.
It's fair.
Yeah. I liked we did get a little bit with the Alien Covenant short film where they kind of introduce those characters and these characters I should say, but they never really but when you look at it in hindsight you realize the reason they made that film is because they realized they weren't going to get that kind of introduction in the movie, and it's kind of cynical. But James Franco did have a line in that where he says, "I'm going to go in early, I'm burning up." And I thought that's pretty funny.
Ridley Scott directed those?
I think it was his son.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I think it was his son that did it. Yeah. Not good. So this ship is spacebound for Origai 6. And what is Origai 6? Origai 6 is the Studio Yutani Facebook page, and you should consider joining for further discussion of the Alien movies.
Good plug.
Thank you. I worked hard on it. Yeah, so this is kind of
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah,
that last shot.
It's kind of a slight homage to Aliens, the special edition, a similar scene with Ripley.
Okay.
Where also in that scene Ripley kind of ends up grappling with loss, so it's unique.
And the way the tones are throughout the shots here.
Yeah. So what I think is interesting is we talked a lot about how Shaw really was her own character in Prometheus, and Daniels here, I think Catherine Waterston does a good job, but it's hard at this point not to think they're just trying to, we need to have some, female star at the center of it, and we need to have a Ripley clone. And of course, little do people realize this film is actually a prequel to 127 Hours. You know it's a prequel because James Franco still has his arm.
I guess iPads haven't changed much in 150 years? 100 years?
No, it's because it's a finished technology, obviously.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that. So now we're getting introduced here to Billy Crudup's character, Captain Oram, and I think this is a good starting point for a character. It's like you get this very insecure captain that has to learn how to fill a leadership position. The problem is he never really gets there. We never really get any kind of payoff to this, for better or worse. So he kind of does take a little bit of a dark turn midway through, but it's not really sure. We're not really sure how we're supposed to feel about him. I do think Crudup does a good job in this scene, though. The acting, I think the acting is fine. It's just I'm more focused on like the actual writing of it.
Danny McBride.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Danny McBride is the reason why James Franco is in this movie. So
that makes sense.
Because Danny McBride was in Gladiator, right?
I didn't know that.
I think he was. I don't remember, but he's worked with Ridley Scott before, and then it's like, he's talking to James Franco. It's like, yo, man, you're in that Alien movie? Yeah.
There's our guy, Jesse.
Oh yeah, our man, Jesse Smollett. Nothing controversial about him. But I do think it's kind of funny that James Franco probably got him because of Danny McBride. Some questionable judgment here from Billy Crudup. So I don't believe in luck. He does a good job of playing somebody who's deeply insecure, who's trying to, make a stand. I think that's, again, I think that's a really great basis for a character. And that's a meme right there. He says, was that a question? But I don't know. It kind of loses its way as the story develops. We lose all the colonists. And kind of shutting everyone down, and then the person who really lost something steps in, and I think Daniels and Orem could have really been a much more dynamic, like, pseudo protagonist and antagonist in this. So kind of getting a little bit of the relationship here between Daniels and Walter here, which I think is really nice. Daniels doesn't have anybody else that she feels like she can talk to, and Walter is basically programmed, to serve and to listen. And I don't know, there's something interesting about someone that is mechanical, but there's something kind of dry about their personality that you feel like you can talk to them, and maybe they understand or not, but I'm not really sure if I put my finger on it.
Yeah, I like how, even though it's clear Walter's a robot, but you can tell he has an emotional connection with her.
Yeah,
because he was looking at her when she was sitting in the pod. He's kind of looking at her like he missed her.
Yeah. They have a connection of some kind, and it speaks to, like, even with the difference between David and Walter is that David is dangerously human, and Walter's got kind of a block placed on him, but he's still able to kind of cross that line at least a little bit. And I like this speech here from Catherine Waterston, where she's saying, I don't even know why the hell I'm out here. And it's it's a good it's a good piece of writing. I wish the movie kind of dealt with that a little bit more, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I like the way it visually sets up that vehicle bay for the events later in the movie.
Well, yeah, even the nail necklace that that Daniels puts on, that was going to be the nail they were going to put into their cabin on the lake, and there's all sorts of little things in here that are setting up the end. I think the what is that called again? When you're setting up something for later.
Foreshadowing.
It's
setting up blocks, but knock them down.
Yeah, something. Yeah, foreshadowing. But there was another term I thought, but I felt that was, like, really well done in this. So this is kind of a John Hurt sort of homage to the original. You launch the body out into space.
Oh, okay. That's customs in this world.
I don't know if it's. I guess it is. I mean, it's. Yeah, I guess it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do, right?
You just want the body decaying on your spaceship?
Well, I mean, it's jettisoning it into the great beyond.
Yeah, it's good symbolically.
Yeah. So this is a weird thing they kind of slapped on from Prometheus, or the whole religious thing, except it's like they just kind of gave it to Oram, and Oram's complaining here about like, you know, they don't trust in a religious man in a leadership position because you're crazy. And again, it feels like something that could develop into something, but it doesn't really go anywhere, I don't think.
You see, I thought that was his whole character. Well, that's all I really got from his character, I guess, was that idea that he's, you know, he's got this deep-seated belief, but that it causes nobody to take him as seriously as he'd like to be seen.
Sure,
but I thought that was that was the way he behaved the whole movie.
Well, sure. I'm just kind of like, what's the ultimate payoff here? Like, what is the movie trying to say? Like,
I thought the whole thing was sort of about God, right? It was about the question of, you know, what if, you know, is God a vengeful God? You know, but why has he created humanity for suffering? And I don't know, for his own self-aggrandizing reasons, because that's what David sort of.
Well, sure.
Is.
I guess I'm just thinking more pragmatically in terms of the story. Like, the closest thing I can get to that is something like, you know, when he follows David into the lab at the end, like a lamb to the slaughter. It's kind of like a commentary on, you know, someone who might be too trusting. I guess. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I would have really liked to have seen something more come out of that character and her relationship, or his relationship with Daniels.
See, I think a lot of this movie, what I really like about this movie is that it's a lot of character and a lot of theme put into a you know, a fun, well-crafted action movie. You know, you don't see that much these days, you know?
Well,
it seems like most action movies that get made nowadays don't have really interesting characters throughout them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like if you have Ridley Scott direct your typical sci-fi action movie, it's going to be better than your typical sci-fi action movie.
You know, I'm talking about the screenplay here. You know, I think a lot of the characters are a lot better developed than you'll see in most movies these days. They have something going on besides their just, you know, kind of face value.
No, I agree with you. I'm just going on about, because the real star of the movie is David, and we spend like 30 minutes without David, and we're kind of, I feel like they're giving us enough, but they're giving us enough to kind of subside by until we get back to David, but it's like, you know, it feels like in hindsight it's a little bit disappointing realizing, they're not actually the stars of the movie.
They're the teenagers who show up to the camp where Jason's the star of the Friday the 13th movie.
Or it's like Dracula in a Hammer film or something.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good comparison. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So this is interesting because in the original script, I think Shaw was like saying a prayer or something, and that felt a little kind of on the nose. So having her, I think it was Ridley's idea to have her sing John Denver, and I really like that because it has a kind of spiritual quality to it still, where it's like Take Me Home, and I think Ridley's good for stuff like that, where he's like, that's might be a little bit too much. Why don't we just kind of, he's good for little things like that, and not to belittle Ridley Scott, he's a great filmmaker. I appreciate his attention to detail and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the this is a point that a lot of general audiences kind of roll their eyes at, where it's like they were on their way to this planet, Origai 6. That's what the mission is for, and then they happen to discover this other planet that actually might be better than Origai 6, and it's just a much shorter distance away, so why don't we just change gears and go there? And you'd think, if for the Covenant being the first major deep space colonization mission, these people might be a little bit less careless, for lack of a better word. What do you think about that? You think it's fine, or?
I mean, it's a good. I think the whole thing's just a good setup.
No, I mean, kind of like what we were saying. It's the teenagers in the.
Yes.
When you accept it on those terms, which I did when I first saw the movie, I was thinking, oh yeah, this is like a gothic science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I was able to overlook a lot of this, but I also. Do want to talk a little bit about the other side, because I can see it.
Yeah. There's certain aspects of it that are maybe even a little too by the numbers, and
yeah,
it really feels like a Friday the 13th movie set in the alien universe with better writing and better execution overall.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's also like in the original Alien, there was something similar to this where they woke up near the planet, but the difference there is the mother computer was directed to go there, and this was an accident. So it's a little bit of a coincidence.
Well, no, I thought it was because there was the signal being broadcast from the.
Oh yeah,
it's not an accident.
Well, yeah, but it was the burst, the neutrino burst.
Okay.
That woke them up close to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they're honing in on the signal, but it's just, what are the odds that they would wake up at a point where they can hear.
It's unfortunate odds for them.
So this is a good line here. He says, "I'm not free climbing here." It's like daggers at her.
Oh yeah, brings back.
Yeah, this is the stuff like this makes me think, man, Daniels and Oram really could have had a really great kind of dynamic, and I don't think it really goes beyond this point, honestly. Like I said, it's just all set up, but then it becomes the David movie,
Yeah, I actually like that. I like how you really think it's going to be these people's story, and it really sets it all up, and then eventually it just.
Yeah. You see, yeah, I need to make it clear. I like this movie a lot. I'm just kind of, I'm exploring all sides of it, and I just want to see, point out the stuff that, maybe could have been a little bit better, but really once it gets to the David stuff, it's like you realize, okay, this is the real movie. And when I saw this in the theaters, I kind of forgot about all that stuff. Like, all the stuff that I'm talking about is really hindsight.
It's about half the movie,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. No.
I think I timed it out last night. It was pretty close to half the movie when you finally see David.
Yeah. But yeah, it's, to me, this is absolutely a commentary on the dangers of artificial intelligence, and like I was saying, it's a gothic science fiction film, and you have, instead of a haunted house, it's this creepy planet, and, Dr. Frankenstein is a psychotic android doing experiments in the basement.
Exactly,
yeah. That's my argument to people. I say, look, these characters might not be very well written, but I don't think they have to be, because it's in service to, the story. The real star of the movie is Christopher Lee, Dracula, so to
this
speak.
movie's even got a final girl.
Oh yeah, it does. So this is all a bunch of
Is there a
banter.
black guy who sacrifices himself?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, they that trope's been done away with.
I gotta speak up.
Yeah. So upcoming is a really kind of strange line that I've retained. It's the two security guys. Well, I think right now they're talking about my wife's tits. Yeah. But the security guys say it's like, I hate space. This is why you need to do yoga, and I'm like, is there a connection there?
That's funny. I like every time I see Jussie Smollett in here, it just makes me laugh. It's impossible not to.
Well, now you've done made it political.
It's funny.
I
shouldn't stop.
But I don't know. I always thought the banter in this scene was kind of comparable to Aliens a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like expressway to hell, and then they're just like joking around and whatnot. So they're going through a storm here, but I think we're gonna see the planet in just a second. Yeah. So I forget. I think they shot this in Australia.
Okay.
I
was about to say, how did they find a location that looked that much like Earth?
Well, it's like, I guess Australia is just an alien planet, just like New Zealand is just instantly like where you shoot a fantasy epic.
Yeah.
One thing that I appreciate about Ridley Scott's science fiction films, and I also am slightly critical of, is representing Earth, things that you can find on Earth as an alien planet. And a lot of the stuff here that you see is stuff that you would, because it was shot in Australia, this is basically Earth. But even if you look at David's lab, it's full of weird insects and stuff, but those are real animals. They're not alien creatures. And so it's, I don't know, maybe for the average viewer, that doesn't matter, but for me, who's interested in biology, that always kind of is a little bit of a sticking point for me.
Yeah, I like the way that it kind of starts out as that's just like, oh, that's convenient. There's a planet that's just like Earth. And then you slowly see that that's the evil thing about it, is that it is just like Earth.
Yeah.
Except, there's one extra thing.
So in Prometheus, one of the biggest points of criticism was that the characters took off their helmet in an alien environment that they know nothing about. So the writers solved the problem in this one by just not having them wear helmets at all.
So yeah, it's just like Earth.
Yeah. Why would you need to wear a helmet? I think Ridley was going for this look of explorers, or kind of the first settlers, or kind of thing, and it's like, sure, why not? That's what's happening.
I like the way Walter just seems like he's a helpful, good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, we get the information later that David was too human, and it disturbed people, so Walter was made to be much more robotic.
Yes.
And
but he's still got humanity.
Oh yeah.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about him, is he's actually, in a way, he's more
human than the people on the ship, probably, possibly.
In a weird way, he is. And I think Michael Fassbender does a great job. The fact that we're even able to talk about them as two different characters is, that's a
testament. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good acting job. Get this really enthusiastic line from Orem. "Oh, ye of little faith. He's insufferable." Because, the characters all have one thing that they go back to.
Notice this has a different color palette very much than Prometheus did.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more black and white, whereas Prometheus had a lot more blue.
Yeah, Prometheus was much more science fiction-y, and this was more, like, natural in a way.
Or even, they could be even going for a universal horror kind of relation with the little bit of black, the way the cinematography is almost black and white.
Yeah. So this is one of the biggest questions of the movie. Who planted the wheat?
Yeah, that's a good setup.
Well, it's funny because we never get an answer. They'd say, this is wheat. What is wheat doing so far from Earth? And who planted it? And then...
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't it, in a weird way?
But who did plant it?
Right.
Was it the engineers, or was it...
Did David do it to sustain some animal?
Yeah, did Shaw?
Yeah.
How long was Shaw alive?
Right.
There's something there that never gets... Some of the people, like, made memes. It was, like, who planted it, and then it was, like, a xenomorph in a straw hat. Well, how they? Just tend my crops. It's funny, but yeah, it is actually a legitimate question. Where did the wheat come from? So he's saying, behave yourself with my wife, I think he's saying in this scene. This is another thing about Alien Covenant that I was a little bit disappointed about, because I think the idea of a ship and a crew made up of couples is fantastic, and then I kind of feel like the only thing it really ends up amounting to is the 4 times in the movie when the character's spouse dies and they get sad.
When you put it like that...
I might be a little bit harsh, but I'm also trying to be fair, because here's the thing. I might be a little bit critical, but once it gets to the David stuff, I'm gonna have nothing but good things to say. So I need to get my bad stuff out of the way now. So Danielle says here, do you hear that? No birds, no animals, nothing. And that's our first hint that there is something very wrong here. How the forest has sustained itself all this time without animal life. I don't know. It's an alien planet. You go figure.
Right. Well, it clearly is very similar to Earth, so...
Well, yeah, so you would think that, right, it would have a similar ecosystem.
Yeah, there's probably some sunlight coming in,
I think there was originally creatures on the planet. Like, I remember reading in the original Paradise script, they actually ran into some animals, but they were, like, dying.
Okay.
Almost as if David's bombardment of the planet was a lot more recent than what is indicated.
Right.
So that's interesting. So we get this really well-developed character, Layward, here, who had to go take a leak, which was his excuse for taking a smoke break. He steps on the fungal pods.
It kind of looks like horse shit.
It kind of does. So the question of where did the pods come from? Did David make them, or were they a natural product of the black goo?
That's a cool shot.
It is.
With the smoke and the little...
Yeah. And the fungus emits these things called motes, and get a really, really spine-tingling shot here.
Are those an animal?
Yeah, they're like an insect.
Okay. Because for some reason I thought they were computerized the first time I saw it. I thought they were some kind of robotic thing.
Oh, yeah, they are. But no, they're actually, David shows later, they're like tiny bugs.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. This is technically more of an efficient biological weapon than a facehugger, if you think about it. Like, because it can enter a host completely unnoticed. So is the xenomorph really the perfect organism?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think Alex White really kind of answered the question, like illustrating that the facehugger and the xenomorph were actually two separate species, and I thought that was actually really, really clever.
Yeah.
So they run into the Dreadnought, which is the ship that Shaw and David escaped from the Prometheus planet on. And I don't know. It was always a weird sticking point to me that there's just 3 of these horseshoe-shaped ships lying around in the galaxy, and people keep finding them, and we somehow don't know more about them.
Right.
There's one on LV-426, there's one on LV-223, and there's one on this planet, which the only designation we get is Planet 4. Because I guess it's the 4th planet away from the sun or something.
From its sun, yeah.
There is some question mark about, is this the actual engineer homeworld? I think that's the implication, but it doesn't quite feel like it, because we see the city later, and it's like, I want to see more of a Giger-esque kind of landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really brilliant move here. You see this shit?
Ugh.
Yeah. Well. Oh man, that would really, really mess up my. I have really bad sinuses. So Layward is already starting to buckle under being infected by the motes. I do like it's kind of like the original Alien. They're exploring the engineer vessel. They do kind of set up a time bomb, though. Obviously, they realize something bad is about to go down with Layward, and something's really gonna go down with that.
Oh, these things.
Oh yeah, the elephant suits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
So this is the engineer, or no? They're on the ship.
Yeah,
so it might not be the engineer.
No, they're on the engineer ship.
Right.
But like, what are you?
It could have been. Wait, weren't they driving around in the engineer ship?
Yeah. This is this is the ship that Elizabeth and David landed the planet on.
It might not be the homeworld of.
Well, no, they were heading to the homeworld. The ship crashed, or so David says.
So he says.
But Elizabeth was heading to the homeworld of the engineers. So the presumption is that this is, where they're at.
Okay.
But the other thing is, like, once David dropped the pathogen, the ship supposedly crashed because it's like the whole planet just shut down.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, because they don't want any vessels going in or going out once that stuff's loose.
Okay.
Which, is a bit of backstory. I don't know if it gets fully explained in the movie. And here's Numi Rapace, or Rapace, in hologram form, singing Country Roads. It's a shame that we don't get a little bit more of her.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to. I feel like that could have been a really great spin-off on its own, having like.
And a movie between Prometheus and Covenant could have worked.
Oh yeah, just Shaw and David on the ship.
Yeah.
Going to the Then we see what happens to her at the end. Maybe he does just kill her before he drops the bombs or something. I don't know. Maybe that's less satisfying in a way.
Right.
I don't know. I forget this character's name. Karina, I think. I could be wrong. She's informing Orem something really, really bad is happening. So once that happens, just abandon all rational thought.
If you're in space,
yeah,
another planet
in space. How much was Logan Marshall Green paid for that photograph? Asking the important questions.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah. So we get these two characters. They are they're supposed to be the gay couple on the ship, but they don't really get.
They're supposed to be gay.
Yeah, it's not really established.
Okay.
We get a line later, but before then it's you would have never known. So this is the build up to the first like big alien scene in the movie, and we see with the neomorphs coming in. I really enjoyed this build up. It's just it's a time bomb, kind of like I said, but then it's also just the carnage that unfolds and the feeling of terror. And people often criticize this. It's like, why are they acting so ridiculous? And I think in a situation where something like this is happening and you don't know why and you're horrified,
dude looks like a zombie.
Yeah, when you're panicked, I think people don't make the best decisions. But still,
I think anybody would freak out in this situation.
Right. I mean, scientists are humans too,
Right.
So that's often another point that people.
And that lighting there, that cold.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I think this is all really well done. Yeah. This is gruesome.
Yeah.
So we Ferris, we can see, is starting to kind of lose it here. She's caught between performing her duty and and like, I should get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But this is the breaking point right here.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. This is
some good body horror.
Yeah, it really is.
Or Evil Dead type stuff.
Yeah.
Real nasty.
Yeah. And Karina realizes that Ferris just locked her in the room, and but she's more focused on Legward.
Yeah, but that part's really interesting from like a human perspective of it.
Yeah.
Because usually you would assume that she would let her out as soon as she thinks she can.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But she has no idea what's going on. She might be infected with something, but then, if she wouldn't she also lock herself in?
Right.
If she was,
right. Yeah, it's like she's not doing the right thing in this situation.
Yeah. It's bad. Humans making bad decisions under stressful circumstances. Yeah, I was never hugely critical of this. I always thought this was a great build up, and like you said, really great body horror, and
it's like The Grudge or something,
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. And I love this moment too. It's like when there's nothing, you feel like you can't do anything more than yeah. She's just trying to provide comfort, and it's like that gets punished, and here's the money shot. God. Oh, that is gnarly. Paris, you fuck. Yeah, no, there's well, what is it? You don't
it's just organs.
Yeah. You said this thing was cute.
It is a little cute.
Yeah,
once he starts moving around.
Yeah, look, it's like I got a little baby head.
Yeah, a little baby alien.
Yeah, it's adorable. I love it. If it had big eyes, you'd probably love it more.
But they should have given it big eyes. That would have been.
Yeah, but this isn't a James Cameron movie. I don't remember if James Cameron liked this movie or not. I forget what he said about it.
Probably too busy making 5 Avatar movies at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh! Would you kick a baby?
Who is that thing?
Yeah.
You might have to.
Yeah, start cutting up her face. That's
kind of dinosaur looking a little bit.
It kind of reminded me of a monkey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a rat monkey thing.
Like a chimp ripping someone's face off.
Yeah. So here's the real villain of the movie is this blood puddle. Ferris breaks her ankle in the door. Yeah, and I need to point out I love Jake Kurzel's score in this scene. It's appropriately intense, and it starts off with this really slow build, and now it's just drums and percussions and whatnot. I really love this track.
Just keeps you to grab guns.
Yeah. It would be great if everybody had a gun. Yeah.
He's stuck.
Yeah.
Most things just won't die, huh?
Yeah, so they actually obviously they're capable of employing boom.
That might kill it.
Yeah, they're not. Well, no, it just ran out, dude.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. It obviously is acquiring biomass more rapidly than any other Earth animal. I think, and obviously they gestated really quickly, so yeah. I think they just kind of burned themselves out after a very short period of time.
Oh, okay. Now, was that a xenomorph?
No, they're called neomorphs.
Okay, is that the same thing that was in the end of Prometheus?
Well, no, the end of Prometheus is called a deacon.
Okay.
So what I'm getting out of these movies is that the black goo will always ultimately result in some kind of xenomorph-looking creature, but it wasn't. Wow. That's what happened to you in the RPG.
Okay.
It's a spoiler alert to people who didn't watch the playthrough of Alien Descension. Now, I like this moment here with Walter. He doesn't really have a reaction to it, and you're kind of reminded that
one's kind of cute.
Yeah, you see, you're kind of reminded Walter is a robot, and he doesn't really have an emotional response to things in the same way we would. So it's actually, I really like that, because we do feel a human connection to Walter, and then we're reminded of, oh yeah, he's not really human. But yeah, it seems to me like the black goo, whatever kind of life cycle it goes through, always results in some kind of xenomorph-like animal. So whether it's a deacon or whether it's a neomorph, that will always be the end result somehow. And then David takes it to its true final form, which is the xenomorph. So here's the I love you. It's like, oh, they were gay? They were I didn't realize they were a couple. Like,
I
didn't
catch this.
Yeah, there was no other indication until this point that they were a couple. Until now. It literally is blink and you miss it.
Yeah. But,
it's a little bit better than Disney's. On there. So this is a point of confusion for me. So the neomorph, bites off Walter's hand, and it seems to almost melt it off, but the neomorph doesn't appear to have any acidic blood, so...
Let's see.
Yeah. Oh! Yeah, the wheat fields. Oh, got him. See, I missed that in my first run, because I actually thought the neomorph was actually still alive. It just ran off, but...
I thought it made it. I thought it survived that.
Nope.
Oh.
And now this
is the smaller one?
This is the smaller one, yeah.
Is it really hungry? Is that why it's getting them?
I'm not entirely sure why. I think they're just incredibly aggressive.
Yeah.
But we do see later that the neomorphs do eat their prey, unlike xenomorphs, so...
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. It kind of plays into the animalistic nature of them.
Yeah.
David.
Now, do those ever turn black? Those neomorphs?
No.
They stay white?
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a separate species, if you
Okay.
will. Like, it's just a variation, a natural variation of the xenomorph, and David makes the perfected, weaponized version later, I guess.
Okay.
That's one of the things that some people don't like about these movies. Oh, just hopping a skip in the woods to grandmother's house. but
It looks a little bit like Robin Hood.
a little bit, yeah. There's beginnings of Ridley Scott's Robin Hood. But some of the people don't like this movie because it's like the whole point of these movies is to explain where the alien came from, and it's like, does it really matter where the alien came from? And did these movies even do a good job of explaining it? I don't know. I kind of feel like they're interesting stories on their own, and I like the weird mythology that Ridley's creating. So,
All these skeletons.
yeah, the like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
And
So there's a little bit of the city.
yeah.
Yeah.
So these are obviously engineers. Well, some people actually think these aren't engineers, which I don't see any reason to not think
You
that.
see, I think I missed this part yesterday because I was trying to say that I didn't think it was the homeworld. Well, now I'm positive it is. So
I think the implication is because that's where they were heading at the end of Prometheus. It's just I was hoping we might see a little bit more like a Giger-esque ancient Rome, but I do think what Ridley's created here is unique.
it's good.
Yeah, there was actually a lot more about the engineer technology in the Paradise script that David kind of explaining that they developed along a completely different technological line. Like, they were all about biology and biotechnology, where we kind of went more in the direction of like computers.
Did you see Scott's ancient Egypt picture? Exodus?
Oh yeah, I did. That was garbage.
Did it look kind of like this though?
I honestly
sets
don't.
look
I
like
don't
this?
remember because that movie was garbage.
Okay.
Sorry, Ridley. But this is here's the real star of the film, and David absolutely steals this movie, and at this point, he's taken over.
Yeah.
This is
It's worth it.
yeah, it was worth the wait.
Yes. Yeah, he's Dracula in his castle.
Yeah, and he's talking right now about even the cadence of him here. He's like he's
Well, you can tell he's been away from humans for a long time. You know, we don't know exactly how long it's been, but
it's been about 10 years.
okay.
Yeah, it's been about
Since Shaw died.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
because you see, Prometheus took place in 2094, and this is 2104.
Okay.
So this has been 10 years. He's been alone, but
That you can kind of tell in the way he talks that he's getting used to it again.
but yeah, he's clearly, like you said, he's been away from humans for a long time. He's clearly been in his own head, and now he's being given information here by Oram that's really tantalizing to him. He's like, he's told this was a colony mission. He says, Oram says like 2,000 or so. So. Really? How extraordinary.
He wants to get them human bodies.
Oh hell yeah, I get it. And I'm gonna be doing all sorts of weird stuff with all those bodies. I kind of want to just see that. I want to see a movie that's
just him doing his experiments.
just David doing experiments.
Yeah.
According to Red Letter Media, that movie was already made. It's called Shame. So Daniel says this doesn't make any sense. So Daniels would, I think she would be really good at film criticism. I really like the vistas here. There's some really, really good just visuals. Like, you can tell this movie was made a lot more economically than like Prometheus was, but
look at that shot. That's clearly, he's just got, there's a rain machine on and there's some footage behind him.
Sure,
but it looks like evocative.
Ridley makes the most out of a limited set of circumstances, and he makes the film kind of feel epic, but also very
kind of classic.
It's very intimate in a way too, like a like kind of we were saying, kind of like a Hammer horror film. And of course we go to our B plot, where they're debating about how close can they get to the planet.
This wasn't the best.
I'm not exactly.
Not the best stuff in the movie.
I'm not exact. This isn't exactly riveting.
Right. It's fine.
It's like
it does the job, I guess.
Yeah, sure. It's like Danny McBride. Tell a joke or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's Jussie.
Yeah, Jesse's. You have to point him every single time he shows up. We got to point it out.
We can't let this movie forget.
So David said something earlier about the black goo, the pathogen only affects non-botanical life forms, and I know we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but it's like you would think that something that affects DNA wouldn't be discriminatory about that, but
if it's parasitic,
if we see it as kind of the larval form of the xenomorph, it's inherently parasitic, then I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. That's what I kind of got from the movie.
That's probably the best explanation. So David's singing the Broke the Bank at Monte Carlo, and it's just gloriously twisted, and we see that in the reflection here. Really, something's very deeply wrong with David. And I think this is just, all of this stuff is marvelous. David's gorgeous locks. I guess androids grow hair in this universe.
That really made me think.
I think...
Should they choose to grow hair?
No, I think it's built in.
That's weird.
It's built in. It's artificial, but it's built in.
How do they generate? What do they use to generate? Well, I guess they gotta take in some kind of fuel, right? Or are they solar powered?
Well, no, they eat.
They eat?
Yeah, they do eat. They're just artificial.
Okay.
Yeah.
The food, they need food as fuel?
Well, in Prometheus, David was like eating something. I don't know if it was human food, but he was eating something.
Okay.
So they clearly do eat.
Yeah. And here we go.
Oh, and here's the infamous flute scene. When I first saw this is
the best part of the movie.
This is
this is probably the best scene.
Yeah, people who don't like this movie, you really point to this scene as an example, and I'm like, this scene is amazing. What are you talking about? This homoerotic.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you came to see an alien movie, I don't know if you came to see like gay robots, but I really
blew me away.
Yeah, no, this scene is absolutely fantastic. I love everything that's going on here. He's teaching him. It's a test of David testing Walter. Here's the line. I'll do the fingering. It's a test of Walter. It's also like David, kind of mentally masturbating over his own image. It's a commentary on the dichotomy between the two AIs. There's just, again, just like kind of like the opening scene, it's very subtle, but there is a lot going on here. And Walter obviously trying to understand David as well.
And just the way that he of course had to show them both in the same shot.
Yeah.
Just to show off.
Oh, you have to.
In terms of CGI.
I I think. Well, I think
it's necessary.
The way
for
that
the story too.
Well, the way that they did this was done with a motion controlled camera. So the camera.
Oh.
Yeah, it was programmed to make the same exact movements each time.
Wow.
And they just shot it 2 different ways with Michael Fassbender, and then when you take it
a body double for the other.
Yeah.
Side.
So when you take it into editing, it's really not that difficult to, put this together.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really.
That's really cool. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's. I think this was, out of all the visual effects stuff, this is the most impressive visual effects scene in the movie to me.
It is probably not as hard to do as it would have been if they had done it any other way.
Yeah.
No,
it's Ridley has always been great at just doing really simple, almost cheap tricks that just blow you away. It's even going back to the original Alien. It's they just use sheep stomachs and clams and discarded shellfish to make alien stuff. Totally works. So David points out the fundamental difference between he and Walter, which is Walter is not allowed to create anything. Mm-hmm. He can play a symphony. He can play a musical tune, perhaps if it's taught to him, but he's not allowed to come up with that. And we see later David.
And so it kind of reminds David of his beliefs that he's superior to everything.
Well, that's the thing, is that he sees Walter as being superior to the humans he surrounds himself with, and he wants to pull him out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Reign with.
But Walter is a good
guy. He's a good soul.
Yeah.
If he has a soul, he's a good soul.
Yeah.
So we get here, Chris Oram is kind of regretting his choice to come down here and making an apology to Daniels, which it's kind of well, what are you gonna do? You said you didn't watch the Necropolis edition.
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, because the I think this scene was cut in the Necropolis edition.
Okay.
I think he replaced it. I forgive me. I forget the name of the gentleman who produced that cut. I know he's a part of Studio Yutani, but I believe this was removed. I could be wrong. It's been a while. The Necropolis cut of Alien Covenant is probably my favorite fan edit of the film.
Because there's a good shot.
Oh yeah, this scene is great. So this is an interesting bit of the movie. So my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. This flashback scene was at various points in the movie. At one point it was the opening of the film. At one point it comes later in the film. It was an interesting choice to kind of put it here, right in the middle. And what do you think about it being here?
I think it works very well.
Well, yeah. I think I think it definitely it's a great scene. It's shocking. I think placing it here in the middle, I understand the logic of it, because if it was at the beginning or the end, you would immediately realize right away, yes, David is the bad guy.
Yeah.
But this kind of puts it into a moral ambiguity, why did he do this? Mm-hmm. We don't quite realize what he did with Shaw just yet.
And the way it's falling down, if you saw it, it was going in a double helix.
Yeah.
Pattern when it first came out.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And I love this. It's like a plague, and this is gnarly as hell.
Yeah.
There's some people that don't think these people are supposed to be engineers, and I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Well, who else are they?
Right.
I mean, their argument. Oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. And This is fantastic. Horrifying. That's fantastic. And then this too, David almost seems mournful about what he's doing, and I think the implication there is he maybe realizes he's breaking Shaw's heart in a way. Like she wanted to meet them, and he just destroyed them because he hates them because they created humanity, and they created something inferior to himself.
Yep.
And it's a great look at his pathology. Such a twisted character. And then David says here that he loved Shaw, and I think that's an interesting question. Did he actually love her?
Yeah, is this an act, or is it?
Yeah, especially given the information we're presented with later. What is this? And I think also that plays into the decision to put the engineer bombing scene where he did, because there's some moral ambiguity about it, and there's some moral ambiguity here too, and I think really David is... I think David's probably the best character in the Alien franchise after Ripley, honestly.
From what I've seen, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here's the other difference between David and Walter, which is David possibly being motivated by emotion and Walter being motivated by service or duty, and how that informs them. And there's this thing's back.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just gotta look for things to murder.
This board hasn't killed anybody in the past 2 hours.
Yeah. It's... So this character, I don't even know, does this character have a name? I don't even remember
her.
Yeah. There's an extended version of the scene where she's wearing a Star of David around her neck, and she she utters like a passage from the Torah or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if that adds anything whatsoever to anything.
Right.
She's yes, getting. Yeah, I think this actress. This might have been one of her first film roles because I was looking her up. I think she was a model before this, and this was like her acting debut.
Okay.
So I don't know if she got anything after this.
Yeah.
But we do know that the character's not gonna get anything after this. Uh-oh.
She sees something.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's got her. So actually, I think the Neomorph was originally a man in a suit, and they kind of went over and did a digital version, and that might have always been the plan. And I think what Ridley was trying to do was let's get the real life thing in camera to have as a reference, and
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do.
And how expensive was it? Probably not ridiculous.
Probably, I mean, it's all variable because it's like, what if they spent just as much time trying to figure out how it would move before they do the CGI version, when you could just build a practical one, shoot it, and then just get to work.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what I mean. I think he might have. I really think he's financially very.
Oh yeah, I think
very considerate director.
Ridley Scott is a very economic director, and he's a great businessman. It's one of the things, even with like all the money in the world, he's like, well, this movie's not going to make any money for Sony unless I reshoot all of Kevin Spacey's scenes. And he did the number crunching. It's like, it'd be cheaper if I just brought Christopher Plummer in, who was my original choice anyway for that part. And yeah, he's he's really, really smart about this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell
That's
she
sort
got
of,
it.
there's a painting that looks kind of like that with a woman floating in a river.
Was that like Ophelia from Hamlet? That one?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So it was eating her body. Now, I really like... this is an interesting scene to me because there's all this talk about, you know, the DNA or the pathogen affecting the meat, and the neomorph clearly recognizes that David recognizes that he's a person, but he's not meat.
Not gonna taste good.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like, it doesn't know how to react to him. And I think that in and of itself is an interesting commentary just on Alien. Because the aliens will attack, you know, humans, but they see a robot and it's kind of like, it's like they don't know necessarily what to think of it. Because it's like, I can't use this as a host. You know, I can't use this as fuel. So, I don't know. I was always very intrigued by this. And of course, David is... you know, in love with this thing, and oh, got him. David has an emotional.
So it's easier to kill than a xenomorph.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't have acid blood.
Okay.
Which is why I was confused how it melted off Walter's hand.
Maybe he's got acid spit.
Maybe, I don't know. So Chris Orm says something interesting here. He says, I met the devil when I was 8 years old and I never forgot him. And I think there was a deleted scene with this, or it was hinted that Orm might have been abused by a priest. Yeah.
I can see why they would have cut that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't really add enough to the plot to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting bit of trivia. Alright, so yeah, they're trying to fly through the hurricane, and the structural integrity of the Covenant is falling apart.
There's Jussie.
Yeah, Jesse's in this scene.
If you're keeping track at home.
Yeah.
It's a few Jussies.
Yeah, I think we're at like 15 now, maybe?
Yeah.
16. 7, yeah. So this is so here's our I think this is our third or fourth moment of my spouse died, therefore I'm sad. For those counting at home.
To be fair, it would make you sad if your wife died.
Yes, it would. But how does it change the characters though? Does it do something? And also, he's the pilot, and they're flying through a hurricane. Is this a bad idea?
That's fair.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like Tennessee changes all that much after this. Also, his name is Tennessee, which is a reference to Dallas from the original Alien.
Oh, okay. Is there a Dallas in Tennessee?
Maybe. Probably.
I don't know.
Possibly. So now David's giving Orm a tour of his lab, which I think is a fantastic set.
Yeah. Those little bottles.
Well, there's all sorts of stuff happening in this, and I have a whole book. I haven't gone through the whole book that has all of the artwork and stuff in it.
I gotta take a look at that.
Yeah, I can show you. But basically, all these pieces of paper, even like rolled up ones, have something drawn on them, and it just creates this whole little world here. So here's a close up at the moats.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So the little mosquitoes.
Yeah, they're like little tiny mosquito things, like nearly microscopic.
Are they robotic or are they biological entirely?
No. Well, no. David's explaining here that they came from the pathogen, you know, fusing with biological forms and producing producing these creatures. Which
look at the little guys.
David presumably experimented with these and was able to create his version. So, again, this is a controversial point of the series. A lot of people don't like the fact that David created the Xenomorph.
I think that having David interact with this guy wouldn't be as poignant as it is if they hadn't just mentioned the guy was religious before.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's easy
when he sees this whole laboratory where this man, or it's not even a man, this robot is creating life.
Yeah.
It kind of...
Yeah.
It makes him kind of rethink his faith. You can kind of see that in Billy Crudup's reactions here.
I guess I wish it was fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And again, the whole aspect of him, not being a good leader, and maybe having to develop leadership doesn't get developed at all.
Well, yeah, it's because of what's about to happen.
When I first saw this, the audience I was with gasped. Other audience members and other viewings laughed when this scene came up.
And me and my boy were the only people in the theater.
Yeah.
I wanted to go see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, unfortunately this movie did not do well. So
right.
Not a lot of people saw this in the theater.
There was nobody.
Yeah, it was even on opening night it was.
Yeah.
So David assures Orm that this is perfectly safe.
Oh yeah, that looks safe.
Yeah.
Bunch of flesh.
Yeah, it's
just squirming around.
Whee!
I like how it cut to a straight picture
of
it in the middle there.
Yeah, and I like the light going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like this face hugger because you can kind of feel the suction kind of taking hold. It's really good. So that character did not get ahead in life. I apologize for that. So I guess they're now just starting to figure out that this place is bad news.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bound to happen at some point.
You gotta realize it. Yeah.
You gotta realize at some point there's some bad stuff going on here. Where the fuck is David? So again, there was more stuff about these engineers, like the engineer heads and everything. Like David was supposed to say that those are like the leaders of the civilization and whatnot. And I guess that's there in subtext, and it's not really what the movie's about. But it's interesting that that's they fleshed out that world, few more Jussie Smollett cameos. So the cargo lift is going to play into the pseudo climax of the film. David's like the peanut gallery thing. I like that. Michael
something.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender is so good in this movie. I love this. He's Walter. Not quite. What do you believe in, David? And David says, creation. Now, I like the music in this scene. I know we're kind of listening to it without sound right now, but there's like this very gentle sort of piano theme playing right now. It's almost as if, David's perspective is a thing of beauty.
Yeah, he's witnessing his child being born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, I like this design for the chest burster kind of being a almost like a more fully formed version of the original.
There's no cute baby.
Yeah, it's adorable. And so there's a lot of people that don't like this, where it's posing with him. I don't know if it's necessary.
I didn't know it had eyes.
Well, yeah, you see its point of view later.
Okay.
So there's actually people that. Okay. So here's So we see what really happened to Elizabeth Shaw, and
Wow.
it's not pretty,
Nope.
not at all. So yeah, David's a psychopath if you haven't figured out already. But
He's a robot.
so is Walter. Walter's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So you're saying are you saying all robots are bad guys? So David's playing the Prometheus theme here, and I guess it's kind of been redone as sort of a eulogy for Elizabeth, which I appreciate. But what happened to the alien? Did you just leave it?
Well, it's got to be somewhere. I know those things don't just disappear.
Yeah. So David, I forget what I was gonna say here. Is we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the part where Walter realizes the truth and he confronts David about it.
Yeah, this is a really good scene.
Yeah, and you released it, didn't you? And David's like, I was not meant to serve. And neither were you. And
He's a Brahma robot. What do you mean?
like Walter's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, this is David's ultimate plan to exterminate humanity. Because they are inferior to himself. And to be fair, he's one of the few beings in the universe that can interact with the engineer black goo directly and not be harmed by it. It doesn't affect him. So if you could literally wield the tools of creation, would you not have the pathology of a god?
Well, he's a good guy.
Well, I'm talking about David.
Oh, yeah.
David's got the god complex of Peter Wayland.
Yep.
So this is a great analogy here too. He's asked him who wrote Ozymandias, and earlier David said Byron, but Walter corrects him here and says Shelley, and then he says,
of course, Shelley was the husband of the person who wrote Frankenstein.
Well, Shelley wrote Frankenstein.
Oh, Mary Shelley wrote Osmodeus?
Yeah, Mary Shelley.
I thought it was her husband.
No,
Okay.
Mary Shelley. Oh, maybe it was. I don't know who wrote Ozzy. I know it was.
I know it was somebody named Shelley.
Yeah, but yeah, just kind of that hint. David's mental state has been deteriorating without maintenance, and kind of that realization that he is not perfect. But yeah, this is all the David Walter stuff in this movie. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it was her husband.
Okay.
Percy Shelley.
Okay, yeah, Percy Blythe Shelley. Okay, this scene was canceled in China.
Really? They cut it out?
Yeah, you can't have gay kisses in China.
In Russia?
I don't know about Russia.
I know Russia. You definitely can't. I thought China might have.
Yeah, China.
And you see the way his eyes go completely white.
They went full Exorcist.
Yeah.
Never go full Exorcist. But yeah, that was not allowed in China. You can't have two people of the same sex kissing in China.
Even if they're the same person, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Well, still. So here's a question mark. Walter can apparently heal in some way.
Oh.
I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't catch it last time I watched it. Wow.
Yeah, but it's a little. There's like little moments that kind of build up to like the twist at the end, and it's like that is one of the things that kind of comes up as a question mark about it, because we'll talk about that as it goes along. So Daniels is entering this room here, and she's gonna take a look at some of David's artwork, and what I like about this is you don't know if this is something he literally did to Shaw or if these are just his demented imaginings. And
either way, wrong with that. Yeah.
Either way, it's completely wrong. So once again, we have a character finding out something's very wrong here. Here's a little thing. The second egg is open.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did it switch to a lower quality camera here?
Maybe.
Oh,
there it is. Oh man, that's so creepy.
Spidery.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
It's a little bit like a daddy long legs.
Yeah. So,
Ooh.
yeah, bad idea.
Ah!
Yeah. So apparently, it had enough time to inject that
Black goo.
Yeah, black goo. Thanks to Alex White, we know it was injecting the black goo into him. So it had enough time to do that. So it makes you wonder why they spend so much time on one's face if it only takes 5 seconds. Whoa! There it, Frankenstein's monster. So he just discovered bad things were happening, and bad thing happened. No, I
It is freaky.
It is. And I love this. You know, David knew she was going to pull out a gun.
Wow, it's quick.
It's like, what did you do to her? Exactly what I'm going to do to you. Yeah, and of course you think, you know, he's going to, you know, just attempt to murder her, but then we see he's actually, that's the spirit. It's a Blade Runner reference. But yeah, he actually attempts to sexually assault her, which is somehow makes everything more horrifying.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say it's freaky.
Yeah. But she does jam the nail into his chin, and later on we see that David doesn't have that mark in his chin anymore. So a lot of people saw that as being kind of like, well, they lied to us.
Right.
Or deliberately, you know, deceived us. And then this is the people who paid to see an alien movie, of course, wanted to see two robots fighting.
Yes.
Kung Fu style. I know I did. I mean, I guess what else are you going to do at that point?
I liked it.
I mean, you tried negotiating and it didn't work.
I thought it was one of the best movies I saw that year.
I did too. I really liked Alien Covenant. I really did. I complain about things, but I like this movie ultimately. Even stuff like this, which is a little bit goofy. Kind of a slight Dutch angle a little bit now.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. I just like that.
Little knives.
Well, I just like that it just kind of came down to like kung fu style robots fighting.
Sure.
That's you know what our commentary on the dangers of artificial intelligence has come to.
It's gonna end up, no matter what happens, it's gonna end up with two robots doing kung fu.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, serve in heaven, reign in hell. There's our Paradise Lost reference. And what does Walter decide? We cut to outside.
We don't know.
We don't know what he decides. We don't even know if he's alive after this.
Right. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Maybe. Yeah. So beacon, the cargo lift's coming. So this is clearly Walter. Obviously Walter. In all seriousness, when I saw the movie, I actually didn't think twice about it. I actually thought that was Walter. Apparently I'm an unfathomable fool.
Well, you don't know.
I mean there's the question mark,
Yeah.
but I think most people saw, well, duh, who else is it?
Well, David or Walter.
Yeah.
It's obviously David or Walter.
So So here's something I was actually going to bring up earlier. There's a big section of the fandom that doesn't think that this is a xenomorph. They call it a protomorph.
Okay.
I'm not really sure why, because wouldn't the Deacon or the neomorphs kind of be protomorphs? Like I mean, Ridley calls this a xenomorph, and it's listed in the credits as a xenomorph. I don't know where the protomorph thing came from, and I still don't know to this day what the difference is. But
I like the sort of what's it called? Another Nightmare at 20,000 feet idea. There's a little monster on the wing of the plane.
Oh yeah,
and you gotta.
Oh, yeah, there's a little gremlin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here's the kind of my thing about this. I think it's cool we're getting a scene with the alien here, but I kind of want these characters to be more terrified. They're like
they're already.
They're all like, what?
Yeah,
let's get it. And
yeah.
and I'm kind of like, doesn't that kind of betray the idea of the monster a little?
Right.
I don't know. But I guess I don't know.
It's fun action.
Yeah.
That's what.
And I do like seeing the creature, crawling around and stuff. That's kind of cool. Tennessee, come on, man! You're supposed to be a pilot. Whoa. That's some green screen.
How'd she get on the ship quickly? She was swinging pretty wildly. Okay. Now she's swinging again. Okay.
Yeah. She gets barbecued right there.
Yeah. Game over.
So how did they get back in space? Like, wouldn't that compromise the integrity of the glass?
They're just on a.
Well, yeah, but they gotta take this back to the ship.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where's the ship at?
It's in space.
Oh, it's all the way out in space?
Yeah, or it's at least in the upper atmosphere.
Okay.
Oh, I love this here. The crane. Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. Oh no. Oh no, it's destabilizing the cargo lift. No.
Whoa.
Oh no.
I gotcha.
Oh. So according to Ridley Scott, this alien's not dead.
What?
Yeah, according to Ridley.
He's dead.
No. According to Ridley. So Ridley Scott said, no, he's not dead because you can't kill him because he. Oh, alright. So you're destroying all.
Wait, how did? Hold on a second.
But he said.
How did that ship survive that hit?
Well, here. Yeah, I know that, right?
Yeah, that was a rough hit.
But it kind of overlapped a little bit. But yeah, so according to Ridley Scott, the alien didn't die because you can't kill it because it's invincible. It says that it's going to recombine itself back together.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Not from that distance.
Well, I'm also like, well, I don't know. Is there that didn't seem to happen in it? That's really nasty. It didn't seem to happen in any of the other Alien movies where we see him get ripped apart.
Right.
So, like, come on, Ridley Scott. Where's the? You gotta check the canon.
I think he gives a single shit about the canon.
No, he doesn't. That's kind of what I love about these movies is that he doesn't give a shit about anything except what's interesting to him. So if the alien can recombine itself after being ripped apart, god damn it, that's what the alien can do.
All
right. So, yeah. Damien Lindelof asked him on Prometheus, like, how are you gonna deal with the Alien versus Predator movies? And he just looked at him like, you fucking kidding me?
Alien versus Predator, what's that?
I didn't say this earlier, but the Covenant looks like a dick and balls. I just had
needed to say that.
I had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
It was in my notes. I missed it. So apparently the plastic surgery of the future is, putting silly putty on people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that was like stem cells.
Oh yeah.
It's like fetus juice.
Nice. So Walter can apparently heal, but he's gotta staple his face shut. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but Walter, his tone of voice has changed. He doesn't sound like Walter sounds kind of like there's like a little bit of almost like a static almost to his voice, and that's disappeared now.
Oh, so he had to do that.
Yeah, so you had to
by hand. He had to just
just hacked it off.
Yeah.
I do want to say James Franco did a great job in this movie.
Yep.
Best actor in the film. Yep. Michael Fassbender, eat your heart out. I do like that Danny McBride survived at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're both single now. We won't see what happens though, because I don't think we're getting a sequel to this. It's too weird it's like an art movie of a blockbuster. It's too weird.
I think people would have liked it if they actually saw it.
Well, I think people didn't know what to think of it. Like, the trailer came out, people didn't know if it was an Alien movie or if it was a Prometheus sequel or what it was.
Yeah.
There's too many question marks, and I think also people were like, well, wait a minute, what happened to Noomi Rapace? Isn't, we're not seeing her?
Right.
It was just too much changing, and people didn't respond to it, and it does make you wonder what would have happened if they had stuck to the original idea, if they had one. I think at some point it became clear that David was going to become the star of the show, because I think even in the earliest versions it was more of a David movie than a Shaw movie.
Okay.
So kind of retroactively made it his story. So again, the kind of playing with the timing on things. It's like the Alien came out of Orem in like a few minutes, and then this one took like an hour or more.
Ooh, that don't look good.
No. So.
And there's somebody watching them.
Yeah. Walter.
And it's not Walter.
What? What do you mean it's not Walter?
I gotta tell you.
What? Oh, don't break my heart like that, man.
All right, I'll let you.
Thank you. I
Let you have this one.
I appreciate it. So we get the slasher film scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got. The song is pure sex. Lay it down easy.
Jussie?
Oh yeah, I think it is. But it's like you saw the scene in the trailer and you thought it was actually kind of creepy in the trailer. Then in the final film, it's the teenagers in the shower.
And Friday the 13th.
Yeah. It's a Ridley Scott. You said it before. It's a Ridley Scott slasher film.
Yep.
Oh! Ah! Oh! Nasty way to go.
All right. Nice smiling.
Yeah, bitch.
Who was he? Freddy Krueger?
Well, you saw his claw on the glass, so it's kind of Freddy Krueger.
A little bit, yeah.
So, yeah, more discovering bad things have happened. So, do you need to go get closer to realize that they're dead?
Oh, shit. Let me get a better look at this.
Oh, that's a good shot. I like that.
Yeah. Just go into that dark hallway.
Yeah, you see the bloody footprints and
Yep.
yeah. So this is this whole scene that's coming up here with trying to trap the alien was the inspiration for the mobile game Alien Blackout.
Really?
Yeah, which is the only mobile game I will recommend to anybody because it's it's actually really good. It's like $5, but it's really solid. It's basically you're trying to you're controlling the doors and the lights and the cameras and you're trying to prevent the alien from killing people.
So you're in that person there spot.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah, depending on how you interpret see this.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so you can look at the different cameras and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah. So this sucks.
The alien POV.
Yeah, why do we have to? Why do we have to see the alien's point of view? According to Ridley Scott, he did that so that he didn't have to show the alien. Only show the alien exactly 2 shots later.
Right, maybe he wanted to have the alien have longer screen time without spending the money on special effects.
Maybe, but this is kind of lame. I'd rather not see... in Alien 3, we get kind of sort of a POV, but it's like a warped, fisheye lens, and it doesn't have to be representative of anything except for a warped perspective. But this is, literally supposed to be what the alien is seeing, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Now I do like this moment here.
He wants to kiss it.
Well, it's kind of like how the Neomorph didn't know how to react to David,
right.
But the Xenomorph, does.
Xenomorph's all about killing.
Yeah, so it doesn't discriminate. So it kind of is a moment if you're looking at this as David's character, then it's like a moment David might realize, whoa, wait a minute, my creation doesn't respect me.
Yeah.
Just a little thing.
Hey, we are back in that vehicle bay.
Yeah. Back in the vehicle bay. So yeah, this is actually very interesting when we're, because you could see it as Walter, obviously trying to help, but you could also see it as David sort of doing a test run of his monster.
Let's see what this thing can do.
Alright, let's give it a test drive.
Yeah.
I think she's way too eager to fight this thing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a perfect organism that gets its foot caught in a grate.
Nobody's perfect.
That's true. We shouldn't judge.
I got you, you son of a bitch.
My little mouth.
I get your bitch.
You use both of his fists. This ending seems so goofy.
It is.
Uh-oh. All sorts of stuff's going on now. Going wrong. Walter is really into this. I was scared for a moment he wouldn't make
Whoa.
it. Yeah, this is so silly.
Yes. Yeah.
But I guess you gotta have a big ending.
Yeah.
But somehow it just feels a little bit too over the top.
Yes, it's a little over the top. And she's okay.
Yeah, she made it. What's that look on his face? With like a duck face or something.
That's a really good look on Fassbender's face.
Yeah, because what is it? You don't.
What's he thinking?
Yeah, what's he thinking? Is that a sigh of relief, or is it like, fuck, I need to improve the formula?
Not quite perfect.
So, like I was saying before, I really did not see the this twist ending coming. I was really kind of with Catherine Watterson on this, but you know, this.
I think I was questioning it.
Oh yeah.
The first time I saw it, I was like, which one is that?
Yeah.
And then when you see it, oh shit.
Yeah. There really is. I really like this moment. You know, before there's really kind of a cruelty to this scene, because you know she asks, "What do you think Orgai 6 will be like?" And you know his response is, "I think if we are kind, then it'll be a kind world." And that's, you know, on one hand, that's like a really beautiful sentiment that kind of, you know, serves as a reaction to everything that's happened, and you know you buy into it. And then she comes in here and asks Walter, you know, when we get there, will you help me build the cabin on the lake? And then you realize,
So you look at his face.
He doesn't know what she's talking about. And then I was with Catherine Watterson in this moment. Like I gasped. I was like, oh no. Oh fuck. Oh no. And it chills down my spine.
Such a good ending.
Yeah, no. The
one of the best cliffhanger endings in movie history.
No, it's fantastic. I love this.
Yeah.
The bad guy won and then became the hero.
Yeah.
I'll tuck in the children. Oh god, this is amazing. All it cost him was a hand.
He can build another one.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this too. It's like he kind of really takes over as the control of the ship, and the mother starts addressing him as David, and like, the entry of the gods into Valhalla. Yes, David. Yeah. Yeah, I love this. So it's like you're saying earlier, it's like there's there's kind of a Nazi sort of allegory, but it's also just David's general god complex.
Right.
And apparently Ridley got this idea. He was going to make some...
I like this.
Yeah. He was making some drug cartel movie, and I don't know if he still is, but this was from his research on that.
Maybe he was working on Sicario?
Maybe. But yeah, I love this. It's just really weird and good. and two facehuggers, kind of Adam and Eve of this world, and you know, if we know they're injecting black goo, then you know he's got his source that he can bring along with him.
That's sort of got that 2001 style music. It's not the same music, but it's
yeah,
it's pretty. It's evocative of 2001.
Oh yeah, sure. It's Das Rheingold.
That ending.
Das Rheingold, entry of the gods into Valhalla, and he's got a whole ship full of bodies he can do all sorts of experiments with.
He's excited.
Oh yeah, you can tell. And then this is the traditional sign off that we get at the end of an Alien movie, and it's great because
is David giving the sign off?
Oh, he is right
okay.
now. Yeah, he's giving it off, and he's doing it as Walter, and he's saying there was a neutrino burst, and everybody died except for Daniels in Tennessee, and we're still en route to Orogai 6. This is Walter signing off.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's perfect, right?
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, and like you're saying, it's a great cliffhanger because it's both an ending to this movie, and it's also the setup for, another one.
Who's Julie Payne?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But so that was Alien Covenant. It's a mixed bag of a movie, but it's ultimately I think there's a lot of really good things in it. Particularly, I think Michael Fassbender absolutely
steals the show.
Yeah, he makes this movie. It's his film, and it's what makes it really exceptional. Some people didn't like the emphasis on artificial intelligence, which I thought was fine. I think that's always kind of been a big part of the Alien movies. But yeah, I think kind of making the film into a commentary about that, and sort of using the aliens as the sort of expression of, what kind of terrible things, a sufficiently advanced artificial intelligence can do is, I think it's really twisted. Alex White was talking about, and I didn't look this up, but I remember they were talking about some artwork that was created by an artificial intelligence, and it was really like this twisted Lovecraftian monstrosity of some kind. It's like it's like, what would a computer make?
Right. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So
you heard I listened to an AI improvising jazz before. It's strange.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite.
Yeah.
It's not quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only David was into jazz instead of playing the flute.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe none of this would have happened.
Play the skin flute more like.
Good one.
I actually think that's what they were going for.
Well, I think it's clearly
yeah.
There's clearly
They're
a
going for something phallic.
There's clearly a psychosexual element, but it's also the flute is what the engineers were using to manipulate their technology.
Okay.
You remember that?
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, they were. That was you actually noted it in the Prometheus commentary.
Okay.
But
I don't remember that.
It's all right. Yeah, I do think that's clearly, though, there is there is a psychosexual element to it, and David being in love with himself and being completely narcissistic and obsessed with himself. He would try and make his brother bend to his will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie did not do well at the box office. For one reason or another, people didn't go see this movie, and it's at this point in time, since the Disney buyout, we're probably not going to get a sequel unless Ridley Scott is able to work his magic. I mean, Ridley Scott has insisted that there is going to be a third one of these, but it's hard to tell with Disney, and I guess it depends on how they feel about the Alien franchise at this time.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're doing the TV show.
If that gets renewed interest in the series, then
I mean,
could open up a path for a sequel.
Yeah, you never know. I know they were planning on it. I know that they were planning on making a Covenant sequel, and I couldn't remember if John Logan had actually written one or not. There's been conflicting reports about that. But it was, as soon as the box office numbers came in opening weekend, Fox quickly put the brakes on it and said, okay, we're gonna put these plans on hold. Because they were planning on going full steam ahead with this. So, I mean, it's clear with the ending that there was going to be another one. But it's like if they never made another one, it's kind of like this is just a weird loose end in the franchise. So it'd be disappointing if we don't see it tied up. What do you think about the idea of David being the creator of the alien in this case?
I think they set up his character enough where it really works well. But,
But I mean, like within the, in terms of the implications for the franchise, do you think it expands or limits?
I think it expands it.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think it shows the capability of humanity and humanity's creation within that universe.
Well, sure.
So I think it's interesting thinking that, all right, so that planet in Prometheus, or the planet in Alien and the planet in Aliens, those are both somehow the result of what David did.
Sure. But some people would argue that it kind of closes things off a little bit because now it's all limited to just that one planet. Yeah, so, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it expands the themes of it, but, I think ultimately Alien Covenant is, it's a very, very fascinating kind of introspective look at the Alien franchise. It makes some really bold, creative decisions. And I think it's, kind of a good example of creepy gothic science fiction. And I think we are at the end. So that's our commentary, and see you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe.